Good morning, ladies. It is very, very early, I know, but I'm just tagging someone here. Hold on. I don't know why it's not showing me. Okay, here we go. So this is for Isabel, who asked a question, and I think I'm going to download this video and then share it with others, with my other group. Okay, sorry. All right, y'all, it's super early. Excuse me. Got the husband off to work, and I'm about to sit down and do some writing and some other things before the kids get up. But there was a post by a young lady who asked a question about when is it too soon to sleep with a man who is who she considers, a great candidate for getting married. And she asked a couple of other questions, and it's one of my favorite topics, so I thought I would jump on and share it with you all. One key and critical aspect of dating with purpose, meaning dating with the purpose of marriage, is that, you get yourself into a space where you are supremely self-confident, and also you understand the purpose and the power of vetting. And I'm sorry if you guys are saying things. A lot of times when I do lives, I can't even see people in there. So the topic of vetting. The vetting is so important because it allows you, as a high-value woman, not to waste your time. It also allows you not only to deeply ascertain the type of person that you are engaging with, but it helps you to clarify who you are and what it is that you want. And the more that you keep refining your own personal desires, the more that you keep refining who it is that you are and who it is that you say you are, is the more that you develop a level of self-confidence that is absolutely paramount when you are wanting to marry well. So there's some critical things that is, in my opinion, that's really, really important, is if you have not yet done your own self-study or study of self, absolutely do that ASAP. And that means write down your greatest skills, your soft skills, write down the things that you know to be true about yourself in terms of your values, in terms of your standards and what you want for yourself. Then also write down your key selling points. So whether you're very young and you know that the type of man that you're interested in may see that as a huge plus, or it could be that you are older and the type of man that you are wanting would see that as a plus because of where he is in his life. It could be, your various, your personality. It could be your ability to relate with others or relate to others. The list goes on in terms of what do you feel are your strongest selling points. Once you have determined that, it's so key to now go into your ideas and your ideal man, whether that is developing a list of non-negotiables. So these are things that, regardless of everything else, he absolutely must have. But you have to understand that, do your non-negotiables make sense? In other words, do you want him to be a very kind man? Do you want him to be extremely ambitious, which means a go-getter, and he may not be around a lot? And is it a part of what's really important for you to have a relationship where you spend time together, you travel a lot? And in that case, what is his age range? Does he want children? If he's an older gentleman and he's already been there and done that, and has grown kids, for instance, maybe he doesn't want to reinvent the wheel. And if that's the case, do you want children? And will that be a conflict down the road? And if it is going to be, then at the outset that he's not going to be for you, because that would be a non-negotiable in terms of wanting children in the future. Is he family oriented? Otherwise, even whether he wants children or not, does he value, what are the things that he values in a woman? And that's also really, really critical, not only for you to write that down. I know that when I do my service with writing women's dating profiles, I ask women to tell me, you know, what does he like in a woman? And what are the traits that he finds attractive and appealing? And so even though you haven't met him yet, but again, this is all part and parcel of your vetting process, because the more detailed that you can become in terms of what you want, it's going to be that much easier to attract it. So if you know you're already attracting a man into your life, hi AJ, who definitely wants a very feminine woman, who wants to be the leader in the relationship, who's very ambitious and hyper masculine. Is he super fitness oriented? And you know that regardless, he wants you to be working out with him all the time. These are all things that I think are really important. And the reason why I mention this is because I know that there's a message out there which sounds great on paper, so to speak, which is that just get out there and get the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, just do whatever you got to do to get him, and then figure out the rest later. Well, that creates, I think it just does a disservice, because to be honest, you want to marry well, but you also want to stay married. It may sound cute to say, oh, well, even if, you know, we end up getting a divorce and whatever, but you will have wasted years of your life, your youth, and you may not get a great deal, especially if you're not married very long. You may not get a super great settlement if you do divorce. And you just will be carrying a lot of baggage because you got him, but now you don't even like him, and he's ending up not even liking you because you might have presented a different version of yourself, and which is not your true self. And it is absolutely exhausting to get out there and have to play a role every single day of your life and not be able to put that role down. It's incredibly exhausting, and that's why I'm a big fan of understanding your value and living into that, and knowing that when you live your life based on a scarcity concept, based on a concept of lack, you end up getting less than what you could have if you were presenting yourself and living your life from a state of abundance. And this is something that I wanted to share also, is that in the vetting process, it's so important for you to constantly review yourself, because it brings a level of self-confidence in you that makes you very irresistible. So let's say you are dealing with, you know, millionaires or whatever, and he's an older gentleman, and you know, he may already be pressuring, you know, you for sex, or not pressuring, but it's very clear what he wants. And if your goal is to say, I would like to be married and I'd like to be married well, and if you are living from a state of lack or a state of dealing with a state of fear, that you have your end goal, you want this type of man so much, and so it puts you in a position of being less than him. And I think that's really what I'm trying to say here, is if you get yourself into this state of mind where you are less than him, then that means that you will begin to act on based on a state of fear. Even if you are not a millionaire or whatever, but you would like to, you know, live that lifestyle, and you'd like to marry well and marry a man who has that, even if you don't have it, that is the key to your success, is knowing that you are worthy of it. Having a level of self-confidence, building up your sense of self-worth is super important, is particularly with high-performing men, because though they will want their opposite, which is a feminine energy in his life, he spends his entire day with masculine men. And so when he comes home, he doesn't want to confront a man in his house if he's a healthy heterosexual man. So the thing is that you want to have your femininity and the feminine aspects of you on point, and it's differently powered, but it's just as powerful. So you begin to build up your sense of self-worth and not operate on a sense of lack or a sense of scarcity or a sense of fear. And so you have this level of confidence and aura about you that makes him want to know more. And particularly when you develop the skill set of understanding who he is and knowing what he wants and knowing what are his deficits. So there are books out there that speak about the power of seduction as well as psychology. And so I would definitely, and I read one book a while ago, and I'm trying to remember which book it was. I know it wasn't The Art of Seduction. It was something else, but it was, I'll see if I can remember. But the points that were made were so critical, because she was saying that you have to study the men. You have to engage in conversations that are very, playful and interesting, but that allows you to grasp information about him. So in other words, when you're asking him about his goals for the next, 10 years, or what did he want to be when he grew up? What type of work was he just enamored with? Who are the people he admires the most and why? And let him just talk and ask him, oh, well, is it, if he says, I don't know, Ronald Reagan, and, okay. And then but then you go on and ask, what was it about? And what did you like? I'd love to read, some biographies. I'm always interested in learning more about people. What drew you to him? And so then he'll begin to talk about key aspects and personality traits of someone that he admires. And that's how you begin to know what are his triggers. In other words, find a way to ask him, does he exhibit those type of qualities in his life, or are those goals for him, in terms of being that type of person that he admires so much. And and then once you begin to understand what makes him tick psychologically, once you begin to grasp the things that he struggles with or the things that he would like to attain or gain in his life, then you begin speaking to that. In other words, if he has, if he's a person who you seem to that you realize that he seems to be the type of person that feels like he doesn't get enough praise, or that he's not recognized for his greatness. If you are looking for those keys, then when you are conversing with him, you begin to speak to that, and very naturally, you talk about how much you admire this certain aspect about him. Choose different words, and you maybe throw it in a couple of days later. Don't make it look obvious, but you want to throw in key things that you find that he's actually looking for in life in general. If he's had past relationships, well, clearly he will have at that age, but discover the things that he's learned from those past relationships. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently? And in asking that type of question, now you see that, oh, he had an issue with this and that, and now he's would like to do things differently in the future. But when you speak to him and you begin to, share those things that saying, oh my gosh, you're so great at whatever it is, work that into the conversation so that you begin working on him psychologically in a very positive way, which reinforces his needs at that time. And this may take time, but the thing is that you are going for the long goal, which is a healthy relationship. And when a man feels that you are confident, inwardly confident, that you have certain goals that you would like to achieve in your life, one of them being marriage, and that, you are also able to speak to him and his needs and whatnot, you become indispensable to him, so that he will want to spend time with you. He will want to work for you. He will want you to be his life partner, because you have discovered things about him. And rather than tearing him down for it or making him feel uncomfortable about it, you lift him up. And this takes some skill, but it takes your having that sense of confidence in yourself. And if you have outlined, for instance, that you want to have children, you can throw that into a conversation. If you know that he wants children also someday, or that he would be open to it, you have to practice ways in which you bring your values into the conversation. You bring your standards into the conversation, and how, I don't know, you have a friend whose kids are doing whatever, and you can't wait for the opportunity, because you definitely want to provide these experiences for your children and the things that you would love to do with them in the future. Now, I'm not saying say all of this on the first date, but I'm saying as things go along and you begin to progress in a relationship with him, and while you're vetting him, please understand that he is vetting you also. But you're having your non-negotiables from the outset means that you are not wasting your time with someone who does not want to get married. Maybe he was already married 20 years, I don't know what, but now he's good and he just wants to enjoy his life. To be honest, I personally think it's a time waster to think that you're going to change his mind. And that if you wait it out long enough, or if he spends enough time with you, that he'll like you enough to maybe change his mind. I would just politely decline, because, even if you've had a couple of dates with him and you're still using the vetting process and the psychological investigation that you're doing, when he realizes that you're super serious about your goals, then, he will either call it off, or he will be intrigued and go further with you. But then comes the issue of sex, which is why, let's say if you do want children eventually, anything that's easily attained or obtained from you will be less valuable. And if you come from a position and a perspective that you're not in a rush, you're young, you look great, you have all of these skills and the ability to really enhance a man's life, then there's no rush. And he needs to understand that, if you sleep with him, that means you can sleep with anybody after a couple of dates or whatnot. And and you value yourself more than that. And that's a clear conversation that you can even have, especially if he's trying to get too touchy-feely with you and whatnot. You can just say it very pleasantly and playfully, but at the same time, understanding that you value yourself so much that you're not giving this prize away without any real commitment, because that's actually, you just value yourself enough, and you weren't brought up that way. You just say it like that. And understand that when he understands that, he will do one of two things. Either he will get distant and he will move on, or he'll be like, oh, wow, okay, she's different. She's just stated that she is, so valuable that no, she's not giving her cookies away for free or for 2 dates worth of dinners or whatever else. Having that level of confidence, again, means that, as I said earlier, you're not coming from a place of scarcity. You're not coming from a place where you feel like he is better than you, or that he has more to offer than you just because he has money. It means that you feel so highly about yourself from a very calm and elegant point of view, that you understand that you're in no rush. And if he's in a rush to have sex with you, then you know exactly what he wants and why he wants it. And yes, that doesn't mean that guys who can wait don't want to have sex with you. Clearly they do. But the thing is that if they've got to work for it, and they've got to understand your value. And that might feel like something scary if you don't want to lose this guy or whatever. But if you lose him over sex, believe me, he's not a guy who is going to maintain a level of high of valuing you and feeling like you are the prize. So even if you come to the relationship with $2 in your account, but if you value yourself highly and you teach others how to value you by the way in which you teach yourself and the way in which you treat yourself, then he will continuously see you as a high value person that he has to work for, and that he has to maintain a certain level of treatment towards you, because, come on, it is what it is. So even if you look at, you know, what's his name, Clooney with his wife, you know, Amal, I think, you know, I think she's a lawyer and whatnot, but you can tell that she's a woman who is highly valued, and she values herself. She has a high level of self-confidence. And she definitely was not doing anything that she didn't want to do. And that's why I say the inner work is so important. I know we've been talking about, you know, getting the coaching and the counseling and anything else you need to level yourself up emotionally and psychologically. Lots of journaling, lots of binaural beats. Like, these are the things that are critical and key to building yourself up. And do not allow men to pressure you into having sex, because I don't believe women when they say, oh, I can just do it anytime and he's still going to respect me. He's still going to see me in this high value manner. Not to say that you are any less valuable for sleeping with a man early on, but what I'm saying is have faith, trust the process, that if you can hold out, because that is something that is very sacred and very valuable to you, because you value yourself highly, you will experience better quality men, because he can go out and get it from anywhere, but that doesn't mean that he needs to get it from you. And if that's was all he wanted, then clearly he's not what you want. Because if he's just wanting a sexual relationship and you're wanting marriage, but he's got all of these other qualities that you want, and you're thinking you're going to, you know, talk your way into it, I just think that that is a very risky game to play. And in the meantime, when he's gotten what he needs from you and then he ghosts you, well, then now you feel played. And you feel, you know, sometimes it can mess with your self-esteem as well. But at least even if he ghosts you or whatever else, and he ghosts you even before you gave away the cookies, at least you won't feel like, you know, you shared your body with someone who just walked away anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so why not have that level of, keep your level of self-confidence high by holding your own values. Even if these are new values for you, believe me, a high quality man who is going to want to see a woman as a prize and adore her and keep giving to her and keep feeling like he still has to work for her in a certain way, he still works to please her, is a woman who's gotten into his head and into his psychology, and a woman who had such a high level, good morning, such a high level of self-love that she didn't just give herself away for barely anything. I think that that to me is, you know, what helped me, because I had decided that, you know, sleeping with men out in this dating world was not getting me anywhere, because clearly I was still single. But the moment that I decided that it doesn't matter what he has or how much he has, I should correct that. It doesn't matter how much he has. It matters if he's a jerk, or if he's just about, you know, getting you in bed, because they're about conquering. They are about the chase. And so if that's really what he's going to do, he's not going to give you the things that you need in the long run. And so that's why I say, again, the ability to soothe a man's unstated needs takes much more work than your ability to sleep with him, you know, after a couple of dates or after a couple of months and a couple of trips or whatever. Your ability to hold on to him is much more skill set oriented than, and your ability to provide such an experience when he's with you that he keeps wanting more, that it's worth the wait for him. And he knows that you are have standards, that you have needs and desires, and that you're very, very serious about it. That's the way I go about it. That's what I share with the women that I talk to, because they've tried everything else and it didn't work. And so how about this, which is have your standards, know what it is that you want, continue to build up your sense of self-confidence and your ease with discussing the things that you want without being pushy It's not about scaring the guy away. But if you are with a man who knows exactly what he wants and he's ready to get married, then that's the type of woman he wants to interact with, is a woman who knows that she also is ready for marriage, that she also is ready to settle down and to just go about building a life together. And so again, if you're not looking for marriage, if you're just looking for, a long-term, something good relationship, what you can get out of it, that's one thing. But if you're looking to, create a married life for yourself, then it's really, really critical the way in which you go about it. And that starts even before you start dating men, to be honest. But if you're just learning it now and you're out here in the world dating, obviously and definitely understand that if you are dating without a plan, then, you delay your chances of catching that quality man. You delay your everything, your rewards, if you go about it without a plan. So getting into the mindset is absolutely critical. And understanding that I had written some notes about something else, and I was going to share some here, because again, it's really, really important that you know exactly what he wants. If he is out here just saying, oh, I'm just out here to, just have fun and whatnot. And you might have some men who will say, oh, I just want to have fun. I've been in a long relationship. I'm really not interested in anything, heavy right now and whatnot. Believe people when they say who they are and what they're about. Don't waste your time with people who say what they want and it's not what you want, but you're thinking that you're going to change him. That is a huge flaw and a fatal flaw as far as I'm concerned that women have. But also know that some men will test you. And what I mean by that is that he might want a serious relationship if he meets the right person. But he's going to tell you, oh, I'm just out here to have fun right now, because he doesn't want to feel pressured. And he also wants to see where you are. And a lot of men know that, women don't necessarily tell the truth about what they really want. And so if he finds one who actually says what she really, really wants, he might then try to play it off. And then, so it's a roundabout way of getting you to state what it is that you really want. And he may also want that. But if he sees that you're just like, oh yeah, me too, I'm just out here to have fun, nothing major, nothing serious and whatnot, he'll either A, play around with you and then discard you, or he will B, run as fast as he can, or C, he will stick around because he realizes that, you passed the first test, which is that, you were really serious by saying, I actually have done that, and now I'm really at a stage where I'm in a great place in my life, done a lot of great inner work, and now I really want to share my life with someone. I'm interested in, marriage and, children one day, building a family, and that's just really where I am right now. And then he smiled, and really, really feel it and believe it. And he might be like, oh, wow, okay, well, and then it just clears the air. And then now you can go forward if he so chooses to go forward with you. But because you've already stated that at the outset, then he knows that now it might be a bit of a challenge getting you into bed so soon. Or he may now decide that he's not going to necessarily pressure you for sex and all of that, because you've already stated at the outset. So now you don't have to keep fending him off and getting his hands off of you and all of that, if that's what, if that's the way he is. And so, that can clear up a lot of things, because I know Isabel had that question about, how soon do you sleep with him? I really, like the man. I could see myself married to him. Well, to me, to be honest, because men like to chase, and because men like to feel like they have fought a good fight and they won, you know what I mean? Like when they finally, chase you down the aisle, give you that ring. I mean, there's countless people. I think Ciara had said it. What's the other one's name? Megan Good or somebody that we're talking about that, they were celibate up to the point of marriage. I'm not saying you necessarily have to do that, but I say, as far as I'm concerned, until you've gotten a commitment, until he's done the work to gain your presence in his life, and he's actually done the work to take you off the market, then he doesn't need to get any. He can, if he's just got to have it, I don't know, go somewhere else. I don't know what to tell you, but you have not done the work to gain this. And I don't mean by him asking you to be, his girlfriend or whatever, because if you are marriage minded, then you are either initially dating with purpose while heavily vetting each other, going straight into courtship. He's now beginning the chase. He is doing what he can to win you because you both have the same goals. And it doesn't mean that you have taken yourself off the market when he's courting you. What it means is that he understands your goals and you don't have any fear about stating what that is. Because again, you understand that it's not so good for you and your time to think that you're going to change a man, or that you're going to, in fact, chase him to the aisle by playing different games and whatnot. But if you're really, really clear and you believe that your self-worth is everything, and you believe in your power of attraction, then you are already settled on the fact that you're not coming from a mindset of scarcity, that maybe this guy won't like me if I say I want to actually get married one day, or maybe he won't stick around if I don't sleep with him. Like, all of that is scarcity mindset. And if he knows that you value yourself so much and you value your goals so much and you're very serious about your life, while you are also feeding his psychological needs, the things that he feels like he never got in his life or that are really important to him, and that people just don't notice, he begins to see you as a confidant. He begins to see you as someone that he can let a few things go and not keep up his guard all the time out in public. These are the type of men that find that type of a woman invaluable. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just gets him and gets to him in a way that doesn't run him off, doesn't make him feel like this is really weird, but that she's just, oh my gosh. And that's the way you want to be with a man. And that's what keeps him focused on you and focused on the relationship, so that once you are chased down the aisle, so to speak, you've got a ring and whatnot, he had to work for you. Now you can begin thinking about sexuality and all of that. Now you can begin opening yourself up because he's done the work. And now you have a ring and, things are looking good. You're not going to have him chase you and do this work all this time, and you still have not gotten a full commitment from him. And now you finally decide to give in and give it up. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. He kind of started distancing himself, whatever. I've seen that happen as well. She got right up to before getting engaged, and then, did all of that. And then things kind of petered out after, she gave it up. So that's just my take on it. And from studying relationships that are still strong, I'm not saying they've all done it, but the woman had such a sense of self-worth and knowing her worth and knowing her value and getting into his head and his mindset, not from a perspective of scamming him or whatnot, but really knowing the man, really being interested in knowing him. What makes him tick? What does he desire in life? What does he feel he never had? And giving him that. That is such a wonderful way to also help you to avoid the pressure of sex in and of itself, because he will see your value in other aspects and not just sexually. So I hope that this helped. Again, the message may not be for everyone, and I totally understand that, but it's something that I like to share as much as possible, because as far as I'm concerned, if he really only just wants sex from you and to conquer you in that way, then what do you have to lose by saying no? Because most likely once you've been conquered, and you will have been had, and then what do you have to show for it after that? And so at any rate, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.